Hello friends, I Professor Yogesh Mehta welcome all of you on behalf of JK Shah classes to this session of RTP discussion. Friends, in this session we are going to have a discussion on the indirect tax part of RTP of CA Intermediate May 23 attempt. Friends, in case of the RTP of indirect tax, there are 10 questions which are given in the RTP. Question number 1 to 5, it relates to the MCQ part of the question, and question number 6 to 10, question number 6 to question number 10, friends, it relates to the subjective part of the RTP. Now friends, we are going to have a discussion on this 10 questions, and our RTP will get over by this. And first of all, we are going to have a discussion on this subjective part of the question. So what we'll do in this video, friends, we'll start with question number 6 and we'll complete 6 to 10 question, and then we'll start with question number 1 to 5. So friends, let's start with question number 6 first. Friends, question number 6. Mr. Prithviraj registered under GST. Mr. Prithviraj is registered under GST, is engaged in supplying services as discussed in the table below in Maharashtra. So Mr. Prithviraj is registered under GST and he is making the supply of following services which are given in the table, and he is registered in the state of Maharashtra. So Mr. Prithviraj, he is registered in the state of Maharashtra. Mr. Prithviraj, he is registered in the state of Maharashtra. Now friends, he has furnished the following information with respect to the services provided or received by him. Services provided by him and services received by him. So friends, this table contains the details of both. Services provided means outward supply details, and services received by him, so the details of inward supply is also covered in this table. And these details are of the month relating to February. So friends, the question given is of the month February, and he is registered under GST and registered in the state of Maharashtra. And in the given table, the details of outward and inward supply, both details are given. And there are 6 transactions, friends, which we have to solve. Now friends, few notes are given. Let's read the notes first. The rates of GST are 18% and 99% in case of CGST, SGST. All inward and outward supplies are exclusive of taxes wherever applicable. All the conditions are satisfied for ITC availment. And the turnover of Mr. Prithviraj was 2.5 crore in the preceding financial year. In the previous financial year, in the preceding financial year, his turnover was 2.5 crore. And friends, what you have to do in this question, you have to compute the net GST payable in cash, that is through e-cash ledger, by Mr. Prithviraj for the month of February. So the question is of Mr. Prithviraj. He is registered in the state of Maharashtra. The question is of the month February, and the last year's turnover was 2.5 crore. And his turnover of the preceding financial year last year was 2.5 crore. So this basic details are given, friends. Okay. Prithviraj, he is registered in the state of Maharashtra. The question is of the month February, and his preceding year's turnover was 2.5 crore. Now, let's have a look at the adjustments or the details given in the table, friends. There are in total 7 adjustments given, and first of all, what we have to calculate? We have to calculate the net GST payable. Compute net GST payable. And how will you compute the net GST payable? We'll calculate the GST payable by calculating outward tax, and from that outward tax we'll deduct inward tax, and whatever net GST comes, that GST we have to pay to the government. Correct, friends? So how to compute the GST? Outward tax on outward supply minus tax on inward supply, and the balance GST will be payable. So we have to calculate two things. First, we have to calculate, friends, 2 things. First tax on outward supply, and then tax on inward supply, and then what we'll do, we'll deduct tax on inward supply from the tax on outward supply. Friends, let us first find out which of the following is outward supply. So friends, first question, the point number 1, Carnatic music performance given by Mr. Prithviraj. It was given by, this performance was given by Mr. Prithviraj to promote a brand of ready-made garments. So can I say, friends, this is outward supply? Correct, friends. What we are going to do, first of all, we'll find out which of the transactions relates to outward supply and which of the transactions relates to inward supply. So first transaction relates to the outward supply. Then outdoor catering services availed. Availed means taken. So it is inward supply. Outdoor catering services availed for marketing event organized for his prospective customers. Okay, this supply is a intrastate transactions. Services of transportation of students provided to Subhashkar College, providing education as a part of curriculum for obtaining a recognized qualification. So this supply is again this is a outward supply because these services are provided to Subhashkar. So this is outward supply. Then point number 4, friends, legal services availed. Legal services availed. Availed means taken. Again, these services are inward supply. Legal services availed for official purpose from an advocate located in the Gujarat. So this is inward supply, friends. And then services provided to Wealth Bank as a business correspondent with respect to the accounts in a branch of the bank located in the urban area, and the transaction is an intrastate transaction. So again, this is outward supply. Services provided to Wealth Bank. So this is outward supply. So transaction number 1 outward, transaction number 2 inward, then transaction number 3 outward, then transaction number 4 inward, and then transaction number 5 outward supply. So friends, transaction 1, 3 and 5, these are the outward supply details. Then recovery agent services provided to a car dealer. So again, this is outward supply. And the last one, general insurance taken on a car. Sitting capacity is a 5 and it is used for official purposes. General insurance taken. Taken means availed. And again, this is inward supply. So friends, in this table, there are 4 transactions which are relating to the outward supply. And there are 3 transactions out of the 7 transactions which relates to the inward supply. So what we are going to do, we are going to have a discussion on first of all outward supply, and then we'll discuss inward supply, friends, because we have to compute net GST payable. Correct, friends? So let's have a discussion now on the outward supply first, and then we'll calculate inward supply, and from that outward supply we'll deduct the inward supply and we'll get the net GST payable. So first of all, friends, our statement of outward supply, or a tax payable on outward supply, and the taxes will be IGST, CGST, and friends SGST. Correct, friends? Statement of outward supply, IGST, CGST, SGST. Now first, Carnatic music performance. Carnatic music performance. What do we mean by the word Carnatic music performance? Carnatic music, it means classical music. Carnatic means what, friends? Classical music. So classical music performance, Carnatic music performance given by Mr. Prithviraj. It is outward supply. Classical performance given by Prithviraj to promote a brand. To promote what? A brand of ready-made garments. To promote a brand of ready-made garments. I hope, friends, you may remember this. Services by the performing artist. Services by the performing artist. And friends, I hope if you do remember this, if services are performed by the performing artist, and in this case if the performance relates to classical form or a non-classical form, classical form or non-classical form of art, music, dance, theatre. So friends, if the performing artist is giving performance in relation to non-classical art, then GST is taxable. It is taxable. The transactions are taxable, even if the transaction relates to any amount, friends. And if the transactions are of classical services, if the performing artist has given performance in relation to the art of classical form, then friends, then if you do remember friends, if the consideration is less than or equal to 1,50,000, then GST is exempted. And if the consideration is more than 1,50,000, then GST, it will be taxable. There will be GST levied on this. Correct friends? Now friends, and also if you do remember, if this performing artist has given performance and if he is a brand ambassador, if he is a given performance and if he is a brand ambassador, then the transaction will be taxable, even if the transaction is of the amount less than or equal to 1,50,000. I hope you remember this provision, friend. Performing artist, classical performance, non-classical performance. Non-classical performance, any amount will be taxable. And classical performance, if it is less than 1,50,000, less than or equal to 1,50,000, no GST. And if it is more than 1,50,000, there will be GST. And if he gives any performances as a brand ambassador, then the GST is levied on that and it will be taxable, even if the consideration is of any amount. So friend, in this question, Carnatic music performance given by Mr. Prithviraj, outward supply to promote a brand of ready-made garments. To promote a brand of a ready-made garments, the transaction is intrastate transaction. So the transaction is intrastate transaction. Friends, now my question to all of you is that whether this outward supply is exempted as a consideration is less than 1,40,000, or if he has promoted the brand, then it will be taxable, even if the consideration is less than 1,50,000. My question to all of you is whether it will be taxable or not. Yes, it will be taxable because he is promoting this brand. So he is promoting this brand means he is working as a brand ambassador. Even if the consideration is less than 1,50,000, whether it will be taxable or not, yes, it will be taxable. So first transaction, Carnatic music performance. First transaction, Carnatic music performance. Carnatic music performance. And the consideration is 1,40,000. So 1,40,000 and the supply is a intrastate transaction, intrastate. So the GST will be CGST and SGST, 1,40,000 into 9%. 12,600 CGST and 12,600 SGST. Correct friends? 12,600, 12,600. Next friends, next outward supply is point number 3. Now friends, in case of point number 3, the transportation of services of transportation of students are provided to Subhashkar College, providing education as a part of curriculum for obtaining a recognized qualification. And friends, if you do remember friends, if the transportation services are provided to any education institution, and such education institution, if it provides education up to HSC, then such services are exempt. But in this case friends, the transportation services are provided to Subhashkar College, and it is providing curriculum for obtaining a recognized qualification. So it means the education which is provided by Subhashkar College, it is not a school, HSC up to HSC. So it will be taxable friends. It will be taxable friends. So again, the services of transportation of students. Second, services of transportation. If transportation catering is provided to the school up to HSC wala, up to HSC school, then it is exempted. But in this case, it is provided to transportation services are provided to colleges. Then it will be taxable. And the amount 1 lakh rupees is a consideration. So 1 lakh and the transaction is intrastate, friends. So 1 lakh into 9%. So C GST, SGST, 9,000. Correct, friends? Now, friends, the point number 5, fifth point. Services provided to Wealth Bank as a business correspondent with respect to the accounts in a branch of the bank located in the urban area. Now, friends, if you do remember the provisions relating to business correspondent. So first, if the business correspondent, if services are provided to any bank, services are provided to bank as a business correspondent, and if the branch is located in the rural area, if it is located in the rural area, then it is exempted. But in the given case, it is located, branch of the bank is located in the urban area, so it will not be exempted. There are few exemptions, friends. If the services are given to the bank as a business correspondent, and if the bank is located in the rural area, then it is exempted. But in the given question, it is relating to the urban branch, then it will be taxable. First point. Second, whether RCM is applicable or not. So friends, in this case, services are provided to the bank. So who is providing these services? Mr. Prithviraj. And who is Prithviraj? He is a business correspondent. So business correspondent to bank. If you do remember, friends, agent to business correspondent, it will be taxable and RCM is applicable. Agent to business correspondent. But business correspondent to bank, it is taxable, but FCM is applicable. FCM and not RCM. So again, FCM is applicable and it will be taxable. And the transaction is intrastate transaction, friends. So services provided to bank as a business correspondent in an urban area, 2 lakh into 99%, it will be taxable. FCM is applicable. 2 lakh into 99%, 18,000. Services provided to Wealth Bank as a business correspondent. Correct, friends? Next and the last outward supply, friends, recovery agent services. So you are a recovery agent. Mr. Prithviraj is a recovery agent and he is providing the services to a car dealer. Sir, whether RCM is applicable on this? No, friends, RCM is not applicable, because in case of recovery agent, RCM is applicable when recovery agent is providing services. Recovery agent is providing services to the bank or a financial institution. In this case, friends, recovery agent is providing services to a car dealer. He is not providing, the recovery agent is not providing the services to the bank or a NBFC or a financial institutions. So hence, friends, in this case, RCM is not applicable and recovery agent is taxable. Again, FCM, correct, friends? Again, it will be taxable under the FCM basis. So 15,000, fourth point, recovery agent services to the car dealer, and amount is 15,000. So 15,000 into 99%. The transaction is intrastate supply. Yes, it is intrastate supply. So friends, all the outward supply are intrastate supply, and the tax will be 1350 and 1350. And the total will be 1350 plus 18,000 plus 9,000 and plus 12,600. So total outward tax, that is outward CGST payable, is 40950. Again, SGST will be 40950. So friends, first part of this question is over. We have found the tax on outward supply. Now what we'll do, we'll find out the tax on inward supply, and then we'll deduct inward supply from the outward supply and we'll get the net GST payable. So friends, coming back to the question, now only inward supply remains. We have finished the outward supply. Correct, friends? Now the inward supply. The point number 2, outdoor catering services availed. Outdoor catering services availed for marketing event organized for his prospective customer. If you do remember, friends, outdoor catering services are availed. So it is inward supply. Outdoor catering services are blocked. under section 17 subsection 5. And if you precisely remember, then the clause was B. So it is blocked under section 17 subsection 5 clause B. Outdoor catering services availed for marketing event organized for his prospective customers. However, the ITC can be availed if the outward supply is of the same category. Now, if the outward supply and inward supply, if the both are catering services, then you can avail the ITC. But in the given question, so outward supply is not the same. Hence, he cannot avail the ITC and ITC is blocked. So first, outdoor catering services, the part 2 of the question will prepare the statement of inward supply or a statement of tax on inward supply. Again 3 column, IGST, then CGST and then SGST. Now point number 1 friends, point number 1, outdoor catering services, outdoor catering services. Tell me friends whether the ITC is available or not. No, ITC cannot be availed because it is blocked under section 17 subsection 5. And if you do remember the clause, then write also B. Correct friends? Then next, so we finish the point number 2 also. Next the point number 4 friends, legal services. Legal services availed. So lawyers services availed for official purpose from an advocate located in the Gujarat. Legal services availed. So lawyer is providing services. Availed means taken. So lawyer is providing services to whom? He is providing services to Prithviraj. Correct friends? So for the Mr. Prithviraj, it is inward supply and legal services availed for official purposes. Official purposes. It is not for the personal purpose. It is for the official purposes from an advocate located in the Gujarat. So lawyer is of the Gujarat and Prithviraj is of the Maharashtra. Correct friends? Lawyer is of the Gujarat. He is located in the Gujarat and Prithviraj, recipient, is located in the state of Maharashtra. Legal services are availed for official purposes. Now the question arises, if lawyer provides services to the government, sir, it is exempted. If lawyer provides services to the person and if it is for the non-business purposes, it is exempt. But if it is for the business purposes, in the given question, it is for the official purpose. And if the turnover does not exceed the limit, then it is again exempted. But in the given question, turnover was 2.5 crore. So it exceeds the threshold limit, whether 40, 20, 10, whatever, 2.5 crore. So can I say that friends, this service is taxable? And if it is taxable, then who will pay the tax? Lawyer to any person carrying on a business. So that such business entity is liable to pay tax under the RCM basis. So friends, this is inward supply and this inward supply is covered under RCM. This inward supply is covered under RCM. My question to all of you is friends, what we have to do if the inward supply is covered under RCM? Then in that case friends, first will avail the ITC, and at the end whatever net GST comes, will add back it because it has to be paid through the e-cash ledger, add back to the net GST. So we have to follow the two things. We have to do the two steps. First avail the ITC and then add back to the net GST payable. So first of all we'll avail ITC. 1,75,000 and the transaction is an interstate transaction. So 1,75,000 into 18%. It comes to 31,500. Legal services availed from lawyer, interstate transaction, and 31,500 is IGST friends. 31,500 is IGST because the lawyer is located in the state of Gujarat. It is an interstate supply. So friends, now we have completed point number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and the last point friends of this question is point number 7. General insurance taken on the car and the seating capacity is 5. If you do remember friends, the ITC of the car is blocked if the capacity of such vehicle is up to 13. However, ITC can be availed if the outward supply, if it is used for the making outward supply of further supply of the car or it is for the imparting training on driving, or the other one was a transportation of the passengers. Now in this case friends, general insurance is taken availed on the car. Now first of all tell me friends, whether the ITC of car can be availed or not. So you will say, sir, the ITC of the car is blocked. It is allowed only if the three exceptions are there. So ITC is blocked friends. ITC is blocked. And if you do remember friends, if the ITC of car is blocked, ITC of the car is blocked, then servicing, insurance and repairs and maintenance, servicing, insurance and repairs and maintenance will also be blocked. If ITC of the car can be availed, then the ITC on the insurance can be availed. Now in this case friends, my question to all of you is whether the ITC on the car is available or not. So ITC on the car is not available because the sitting capacity is up to 13 and outward is not a further supply or imparting training or a transportation. Correct friends? So again, general insurance services, the ITC is blocked. ITC is blocked on the general insurance services. So finally, your inward supply, the GST on inward supply, there is only IGST and no other taxes are there. Correct friends? So with this, we have completed the two part of the question. First, outward, tax on outward supply, CGST, SGST 40950, 40950. Mr. Prithviraj. Now the question becomes very easy. Prithviraj, outward supply, and on outward supply there are two taxes, CGST, SGST 40950, 40950. And on the inward side friends, 31500 IGST, 31500 is IGST. Now the question is very easy. Now tell me friends, how will you solve this question? You have to find out the net GST payable. The supply on outward minus supply, the tax on outward supply minus tax on inward supply, and on the outward supply there is a CGST 40950 and there is a SGST again 40950, and out of this we have to deduct IGST. Now the question rises friends, if you do remember, we have done the two steps. Step number 1, tell me the step number 1, CGST minus IGST then CGST, and SGST minus IGST then SGST. So at both the places we are deducting IGST, and if you do remember, if we have such kind of a confusion or a dilemma from where to deduct IGST first, then we have to follow the sequence of utilization. So friends, the sequence will be IGST can be first utilized for payment of IGST, and if still the balance remains in the IGST ITC, then it will be used for CGST or SGST in any proportion, correct? So in this case friends, multiple answers are possible. What you can do, you deduct 31500 from here, correct, because there is no IGST on outward. Correct friends, you have a IGST ITC of rupees 31500. It will be first adjusted against outward supply, IGST outward, but there is no IGST outward, then it will be again adjusted against the CGST or SGST in any proportion. So if you do adjust it against the CGST first, then your CGST payable will be 40950 minus 31500. Yes, and at the end you have to add back the RCM wala tax. So friends, the answer will be 9450, and this will be no ITC will be available 40950. Alternatively friends, you can deduct it from SGST also first, so 31500, and from here it will be nil. Or what institute has done, institute has deducted, you can make a deduction in any proportion, or institute has deducted half from CGST and half amount from SGST friends. So 15750 and 15750, and your net CGST payable will be 25200 and net SGST payable will be 25200. And yes, you have to add back the RCM to the net GST available. Now tell me, lawyer services were covered under RCM. This was covered under RCM. And we have deducted 31,500. So we have to add back IGST 31,500. And what is your IGST outward? It's nil. So your IGST payable is nil, friend. And added back IGST under RCM. It was 31,500. So finally friends, your tax payable is 25,200 and SGST 25,200 and IGST will be 31,500. I hope all of you have understood this question number 6, friends. Now let us move on to the next question, friends. Question number 7. Now friends, question number 7. So question number 7 is determine whether GST is payable in each of the following independent transactions. You have to answer whether the GST is payable or it is exempted. Now first, Dhruv developers sold a plot of land. Dhruv developers sold a plot of land in a Greater Noida after leveling, laying down of drainage lines, water lines, and electricity lines. If you do remember, friends, sale of land is covered in Schedule 3, and as per Schedule 3, sale of land is not a supply, and if it is not a supply, it is neither supply of goods nor supply of services. Hence, the GST is not leviable. GST is not a leviable. So friends, this is covered in Schedule 3. Now the question arises whether the given transaction is of the sale of land after leveling, laying down of drainage lines, water lines and electricity lines is covered in Schedule 3. That is the question. See, Schedule 3 covers only sale of land. It is written in the Schedule 3, sale of land is not a supply. But in this case, it is given the plot of land is sold, but after leveling, laying down drainage lines and water lines and electricity lines. So friends, there is a circular, and I hope you have watched, all of you have watched the amendment videos earlier. And as per the circular, friends, as per the circular, now this sale of land, as per the circular, it is clarified in the circular that even if the land is sold after laying down, after leveling or laying down of drainage lines, water lines and electricity lines, it is still covered in the Schedule 3 only, and hence GST, the activity is not a supply and GST is not leviable. Let's read this circular, friends. As per the para 5 of Schedule 3 of the CGST Act 2017, the sale of land is neither a supply of goods nor supply of service. So in simpler language, sale of land is neither supply of goods nor supply of services as per Schedule 3. Therefore, sale of land does not attract the GST. Now, land may be sold either as it is or after some development. It may be sold as it is or after some development, such as leveling, laying down of drainage lines, water lines, electricity lines, etc. It is clarified that sale of such developed land, is also a sale of land only, and it is covered by the same para 5 of Schedule 3, and accordingly it does not attract the GST. Hence, in the given case, the GST is not leviable, because even whether the land is sold as such or after certain developments, it will be still covered under the para 3 of Schedule, para 5 of the Schedule 3 only, and hence it will not attract the GST. But however, friends, if suppose there is a owner of the land, and he is a developer, if he takes, suppose Mr. X is providing him services of developing the, Mr. X is providing the services of development of the land like leveling, laying down drainage lines, etc., then on this activity GST is applicable. See, Mr. X does is he is providing the services of such developments, like he is leveling the land, he is laying the drainage lines or the electricity lines. Then in that case, friends, such service is taxable. But if developer after after this development, if he sells land, such service is taxable, but later on if he sells land, then that is not a supply. I hope you have understood this question, friends. Okay. Now the next question, friends. Deccan Shipping Private Limited registered under the GST. There is one shipping company which is registered under the GST in the UT of Andaman Nicobar Island, provided the passenger transportation services to the local residents in the ferries owned by it from the Neil Island to the Havelock Island. Now what is the question, friends? Here there is a transportation of passenger service, and if you do remember transportation of passenger, we had done the vessel transportation, we had done the transportation in a waterways. So friends, in that case, if the transportation is in by way of inland waterway, then it is exempted. If the transportation is coastal transportation, then in that case, if it is for the public transportation, it is exempted, and if it is for the tourism purpose, then it will be taxable. We have done this in the classroom itself, friends. Now the question is that if the ferry is owned by the private entity, whether such exemption is available or not. Deccan Shipping here provides a transportation of passenger services, and they are transporting the local resident in the ferries owned by it from the one island to the another island. So now this is clarified, friends. The clarification is given for this activity also. I have made the summary of the clarification, friends. Inland waterway we had done in the exemption chapter, it is exempted. Coastal transportation, coastal, and in case of coastal transportation, friends, if it is for tourism purpose, then GST is applicable. Then question arises, what is tourism purpose? If with the transportation there is sightseeing and food and beverages are provided, the music is there on the vessel, and accommodation is provided in the vessel like a cruise or a shikara, then in that case it will be treated as it is provided as a for the tourism purpose, friends. But otherwise it will be treated as a public transportation only. Only suppose few passengers are transported from one island to another island, then it will be treated as a public transportation if there is no sightseeing, food and beverages, music, accommodation, etc. Even if ferry is owned by government or any person, it will be exempted, friends. For public transportation there is an exemption, for tourism purpose it will be taxable. So friends, inland waterways exempt, coastal transportation, public transportation exempt, tourism purposes it will be taxable, friends. Now this is given in the clarification here. Now friends, it is clarified that this exemption would apply to the tickets purchased for transportation from one point to another, irrespective of whether the ferry is owned by or operated by the private sector enterprise or even by the PSU or the government. The exemption is still available. It is further clarified that the expression public transport is used in the exemption notification only means that the transport should be open to the public. It can be privately or publicly owned. Only exclusion is on the transportation which is predominantly for the tourism purpose, and such as services which may combine with transportation with sightseeing, food and beverages, music, then only it will be treated as a tourism. Otherwise it will be treated as a open to the public, and whether it is provided by the private entity or a public entity, it will be treated as for the public transportation. Correct, friends? So now in this question, the GST will not be there because it is purely a transportation service. Nowhere it is mentioned that there are sightseeing, food and beverages, music, accommodation, etc. as provided in the shikara or the cruise. So friend, it will be exempted. So this was question number 7, friends, and the solution is provided. The same line which were given in the circular, the same lines are given. If you read question number 7.1 or whether 7.2, let's have a look at the answer, friends. Sale of GST is not payable by the Dhruv developer. GST is not payable by the Dhruv developer on the sale of plot of land. This we had done. Clarifies applicability of GST on sale of land after leveling circular number 177/9/2022. We do not need to write all this. So circular clarifies that applicability of GST on sale of land after laying down of the drainage lines, etc. As per the para 5 of schedule 3 of the CGST Act, sale of land is neither supply of goods nor supply of service. Therefore, sale of land does not attract GST. Land may be sold either as it is or after development. The land may be sold either as it is or after some development. The same lines which we had read, the same lines are given here only. And it's clarified that such sale of such development land is also a sale of land and is covered by para 5 and accordingly does not attract the GST. Now, again in this, it is clarified that this exemption would apply to the tickets purchased for the transportation from one point to another, irrespective of whether the ferry is owned by or operated by the private sector or the PSU or the government. So in short friends, both the transactions are exempted. It is further clarified that expression public transport used in the said exemption notification only means that the transport should be open to the public. It can be privately or publicly owned. Only the exclusion is on the transportation which is predominantly for the tourism purpose. If it is for the tourism purpose, then it will be taxable. Otherwise, it will be treated as a public transport, then it will be exempted friends. And in the given question, it will be exempted. Transportation of passenger service provided by the private operator Deccan Shipping Private Limited are exempted from the GST. Correct friends? So this were the simple questions, question number 7. And the next question is question number 8. State the person liable to pay GST in the following independent services provided. You have to find out who is the person liable to pay GST. In short friends, whether the FCM is applicable or whether the RCM is applicable, you have to find out. Now friends, Siddhi Builders registered in the state of Haryana rented out 20 residential units owned by it. Siddhi Builder, they are registered in the state of Haryana and they rented out. So Siddhi Builder is letting out. Siddhi Builders rented out 20 residential units owned by it in the Sanskriti Society to Rudra Technology. Siddhi Builders are letting out the property to Rudra. And which kind of property it is? It is a residential property, residential units. Rudra Technologies, IT based firm. Rudra is registered in the state of Haryana. Correct friends? And it is let out for the accommodation of the employees. Now the question is, Siddhi Builder is letting out the 20 units, residential units to the Rudra. Rudra is registered in the state of Haryana friends. Now, if you do remember friends, renting off, there is an amendment friends, renting service. In case of renting service, there an RCM is introduced in case of renting service friends. If commercial property is let out, if the commercial property is let out, renting of the commercial property, GST is payable and FCM is applicable. GST is payable and FCM is applicable. If the property is renting off, if there is a residential property, in the given case, Siddhi Builders are letting out the residential property. If residential properties are let out to the registered person, Rudra was a registered person. Correct friends? Then remember, GST is applicable and RCM is applicable. So in this case, whether Rudra is registered person, yes, and letting out of the residential units, not commercial units. Commercial property let out, GST is payable and FCM is applicable. Residential property let out to registered person, GST is payable and RCM is applicable. So in this case, RCM is applicable and Rudra is liable to pay GST. Correct friends? And if it is provided to the unregistered person, if residential property is let out to the unregistered person and if it is used for residential use, if it is used for the residential purposes, then GST is exempted and otherwise GST is payable and FCM is applicable. Correct? In the given question, Siddhi Builders are letting out to the Rudra and they are letting out the residential property to the registered person. So RCM will be applicable. Here Rudra is liable to pay GST. This was a question number 8.1. And then friends, in case of 8.2, Messrs Purohit Consultants, a partnership firm registered in Delhi as a regular taxpayer, Messrs Purohit Consultants, a partnership firm registered in Delhi as a regular taxpayer, paid sponsorship fees. Who are the person paying sponsorship fees? So Messrs Purohit Consultants, a partnership firm, they are making the payment of sponsorship fees of rupees 70,000 at a seminar which is organized by private NGO. A seminar is organized by private NGO and which is a partnership firm. So friends, who are the organizers? Private NGO registered as a partnership firm in Delhi, and they are giving a sponsorship services to the Purohit Consultants, a partnership firm. And I hope if you do remember, friends, any person to body corporate or a partnership firm, if any sponsorship services are given, then it is covered under the RCM. And sponsorship services of the sporting events are exempted. Here nowhere it is mentioned that the sponsorship is for the sporting event specified and it is organized by the specified persons. And it is nowhere it is written it is a sponsorship of the sporting event. Hence there is no exemption. Otherwise there is an exemption. But in this case it will be taxable, and any person to body corporate or a partnership firm, RCM is applicable. So Messrs Purohit Consultants, it is a partnership firm and RCM is applicable. In this case, Messrs Purohit Consultants will pay tax. RCM is applicable, and who will pay tax? Messrs Purohit Consultants will pay tax. So in both the given question, RCM is applicable in question number 8, friends. And in the first question, Rudra is liable to pay GST, and the second question, Messrs Purohits are liable to pay GST. Now friends, let's have a look at question number 9. Friends, we have done question number 6, we have done question number 7, we have done question number 8. Now the 2 subjective question remains, and then we'll do the question number 1 to 5, which relates to the MCQ part. So question number 9, friends, let's read it. Briefly enumerate the contraventions which make a registered person liable to cancellation of registration as prescribed under Rule 21 of the CGST Rules 2017. Now friends, you have to enumerate the contraventions which will make a registered person liable to cancellation of registration. So in which case the person is liable for deregistration. You have to mention that point. In which case the person is liable for the deregistration, and Rule 21 prescribes the such contraventions. Correct, friends? And let's read the contravention directly. So in the following case, from A to I, if any of these provisions are contravened, then the person is liable for deregistration. Now first, if the person, there is nothing new in this question, friends. This is simple question and simple theory question. We have done this in the classroom. The person does not conduct any business from the declared place of the business. He does not conduct any business from the declared place of the business. Then he issues invoice or a bill without supply of goods or services. So friends, first, he does not conduct the business from the declared place. Then he issues invoice without supply of the goods. So fake invoicing. Then he violates the provisions of section 171, that is anti-profiteering measures. I hope you remember all these points. He does not conduct the business from the declared place. He issues invoice without the supply of goods or services. That is fake invoicing. Then he violates the provisions of section 171. That is anti-profiteering measures. Then he violates the provisions of Rule 10A of the CGST rule relating to furnishing of the bank details. I hope you remember all this, friends. Like in this case, the bank details has to be submitted. You first take the registration, provisional registration from the GST department, and then when you get the GST number, open the bank account and then share the bank details to the GST department. If you have not furnish the bank details, then in that case you are liable for deregistration because for the violation of Rule 10A. So violating Rule 10A, violating the provisions of section 171, fake invoicing, or you do not conduct the business from the declared place, then you are liable for deregistration. Again, then you avail the ITC, you avail the input tax credit in violation of the provisions of section 16. There are 5 conditions, and if you do not satisfy any condition and even though you avail the ITC, then you are also liable for deregistration too. So the PO may deregister such a person who contravenes any of the following provisions. Then furnishes the details of outward supply in form GSTR1. In form GSTR1, you show excess supply then for one or more tax periods which is in excess of the outward supply declared in the return. That is, you show more supply in GSTR1 than supply shown in the GSTR3B. Correct friends, you are showing more supply in GSTR1 than GSTR3B. And last one is, if a monthly return filer does not file a return for a continuous period of 6 months. So monthly return filer does not file a return for 6 months, continuous 6 months. Monthly return filer does not file return for a 6 months continuously, and quarterly return filer does not file the return. Quarterly return filer does not file the return for a 2 quarters. Then in that case, such a person is liable for deregistration. So there were few points. If you contravene this any of this point, then you are liable for deregistration. You do not conduct the business from the declared place. If you are indulged in fake invoicing wala business, and if you violate the provisions of section 171, violates the provisions of rule 10A, you violate the provisions of section 16, and outward supply shown in the GSTR1 is more than 3B, and the person does not file return continuously for a period of 6 months, or in case of quarterly return filer like QRMP scheme, return for a continuously for a 2 quarters are not filed, then the person is liable for deregistration, friends. And the last question is question number 10. State the order in which every taxable person discharges his tax and other dues under the GST law. If you do remember, friends, this is nothing but a chronological order. First, you pay self-assessment tax and other dues of the previous tax period. Then self-assessment tax and other dues of the current tax period, and at the end you pay the demanded amount under section 73 and 74. So it is nothing but a chronological order. Every taxable person shall discharge his tax and other dues in the following order. First, self-assessed tax and other dues of the previous tax period, then of the current tax period, and then any other amount, and then any other amount demanded under section 73 or 74. So this was a chronological order, and with this we have completed question number 6 to 10, which were subjective question, friends. Now we are going to start with our last part, that is question number 5, friends, which is a case study based MCQ. Correct, friends? So let's read this question, friends. So friends, the MCQ based question, Manavta Trust is a charitable trust registered under section 12AB of the Income Tax Act. So this is a Manavta Trust and it is registered under the 12AB of the Income Tax Act. The trust is well known for its educational, charitable and religious activity. So they are indulged in providing educational services, charitable and religious services. The trust become liable to registration under GST in the current financial year. If they are liable to registration under GST in the current financial year, since it exceeded the threshold limit for registration and thus got itself registered in the state of Gujarat in the month of May. So the question relates to Manavta Trust, and Manavta Trust, it is registered. Manavta Trust, it is registered in income tax as well as in GST. It is registered in the state of Gujarat. Correct, friends? It is registered in the month of May. So this question is given. Then in the month of June, now it got registered in the month of May, and now the question says in the month of June, a multinational company, Dhruv Tara Limited, so let's say D Limited, Dhruv Tara Limited, a multinational company, gifted 500 laptops worth rupees 50 lakh. to the trust. Dhruv Tara Limited gifted to the Manavta Trust 500 laptop free of cost for the charitable purpose without any intention of seeking any business promotion from the same. So Dhruv Tara is gifting 500 laptop without any business promotion or anything to the trust free of cost. And Manavta Trust distributed this laptops for free. Manavta distributed this laptop for the free to the in the same months to the needy students. So they distributed laptop free to the student, and Dhruv Tara distributed the laptop to the Manavta Trust free of the cost. So this is given in the second paragraph. Correct, friends? Whenever you are solving the question of MCQ based question, friends, case study based MCQ question, friends, then in that case what you have to do is you have to check in each paragraph what information is given. In the first paragraph it is written that the Manavta Trust is a registered person in the state of Gujarat. In the second paragraph the question relates to the month of June, information relates to the month of June, and in the second paragraph it is given that the Dhruv Tara gifts laptop to the Manavta Trust, and Manavta Trust later on gift it or distribute it to the students. Now friends, Manavta Trust distributed this laptop for the free in the same months to the needy students for facilitating them in their higher studies. Okay. Now in the third paragraph, Manavta Trust owns a higher secondary schools. Manavta Higher Secondary School in Gujarat in the month of July. Now the first paragraph relates to the month of May, second paragraph relates to the month of June, and third paragraph relates to the month of July. In the month of July, friends, the trust availed security personnel services. So trust availed security personnel services. So for the Manavta Trust, it is inward supply. In the month of July, trust availed security personnel services from the Perfect Security Solutions Gujarat, a proprietorship concern for security of the school premises for a consideration of the rupees 2 lakh. Now tell me, friends, Perfect Security Solution, they are giving security services, and they are giving security services to whom? They are giving security services to the Manavta Higher Secondary School. Manavta Higher Secondary School. Correct? Now if you do remember, friends, if security services are given and that too by way of security personnel services, then it is covered under RCM. But however, if you also do remember, there is an exemption. If transportation service, catering services and security services are provided to any school up to HSC wala school, up to HSC Higher Secondary School, then such security services are exempt. Correct? No RCM is applicable here. Otherwise you would think that RCM is applicable. No. Educational services. Correct, friends? It was inward supply to the education institutions, transportation, catering and security services. So it is exempted. Then it also received legal services, legal consultancy services from Maya and Company. Maya and Company, a firm of lawyers for issues relating to the said school for rupees 1,20,000 in the same months. Now lawyers are providing the services to the higher secondary school or a Manavta Trust. Correct, friends? So they are providing services. Lawyer is providing services to the Manavta Higher Secondary School. Now the question arises whether it is taxable or not. So friends, Manavta Trust, it carries certain educational work, it carries certain charitable and religious activities. So it is a business entity, friends, business entity, and the turnover in the preceding financial year, was rupees, aggregate turnover of the Manavta Trust for the preceding financial year was rupees 15 lakh. Correct? It is given in at the end of the question. Aggregate turnover was 15 lakh. So it does not exceed any threshold limit. So again GST will be exempted, friends. Correct? Lawyer to government exempt, lawyer to non-business entity is exempt, lawyer to business entity where turnover does not exceed the limits, it is exempted. So in this case, that will also be exempted, friends. Now, this was a third paragraph. First paragraph, it is written Manavta is a registered trust. It is registered in income tax as well as in GST. In GST, they got registered in the state of Gujarat in the month of May. Then, in the second paragraph, the information relates to the month of June. In the month of June, friends, the Dhruv Tara Limited gifted few laptops to the Manavta Trust, and then Manavta Trust distributed these laptops to the student. Then in third paragraph, friends, the question relates to the month of July. In this case, friends, it is the information is given that the security services are given to some schools and legal services are given to the schools, and both are exempted, friends. Then now the next paragraph. Manavta Trust furnished the following information regarding the expenses incurred by it in the month of August. The fourth paragraph relates to the month of August. May, June, July, and fourth paragraph relates to the month of August. Manavta furnished the information regarding the expenses incurred by it. So these are the expenses incurred by it in the month of August, all transactions being interstate. Okay. First, friends, services received and used for supplying the taxable outward supply. Services are received and used for supplying the taxable outward supply. Now question arises, expenses are incurred by it in the month of. The Manavta has incurred the expenses. So this is an inward supply, friends. It is not an income. It is not an income. It's an expenditure. So expenses means inward supply. And if it is an income, then it is outward supply. If you sell something, you will receive the income. Correct? If you have spent, if you have incurred the expenses, you have to spend the money. So money goes out. Correct, friends? So in this question, expenses are incurred. So these are the inward supply. And now the question arises whether the ITC will be available or not. Correct, friends? In GST, what other question will be there for inward supply? So services received and used for supplying taxable outward supply. Tell me whether the ITC will be available. Tell me, friends, whether the ITC can be availed or not. When services are received inward supply, and it is used for supplying the taxable outward supply. Outward supply is taxable. ITC can be availed for this. Catering services received for students of Manavta services. Catering services received. So catering services provided to Manavta Higher Secondary School. It is exempted. Correct, friends? So there is no question of ITC on this. And again, catering services are blocked also, if you do remember. So friends, the next question is, there is no GST. Yeah? In this case, GST is exempted. Catering services, there is no GST. So question of ITC does not arise. GST is exempted, friends. So, and again, catering services, even if GST is there, then it is blocked. So third question is, buses purchased with a sitting capacity of 25% including driver. So more than 13% ITC can be availed on this. ITC can be availed. Buses were delivered in the first week of September. Buses delivered in the first week of September. If you do remember, friends, section 16, there are 5 conditions. ITC can be availed when the goods are received. So it is delivered in September. So ITC can be availed in the month of September. And for point number 2, there is no ITC because GST is not there. And point number 1, ITC can be availed in the month of August itself. Correct, friends? So this was a paragraph number 4, and the next or perhaps the last paragraph. Yes. Now, Manavta Trust provided the following information in respect of the services provided by it. Services provided by it during the month of August. Again, the information relates to the month of August. So there are mainly 5 paragraphs. In the first paragraph, the information of the May, then June, then third paragraph July, then fourth paragraph August inward supply. Now again the August, but it is the outward supply, services provided by it. First, it runs an old age home for senior citizen. Manavta Trust runs an old age home for senior citizen. If you do remember, friends, if any old age home is run by any charitable trust, then the amount is exempted if the consideration is up to rupees 25,000 per month and per member. If the consideration is up to rupees 25,000 per month per member, then it is exempted, friends. So in this case, it runs an old age home for senior citizen, and if any old age home is run by any trust, by trust registered trust, and the monthly charges including the boarding and the lodging and accommodation is up to rupees 25, then the GST is exempted. Now from each member 15,000 is charged, and 15,000 into there are 20 members. So how much amount is received? 3 lakh. But GST is exempted because the consideration is up to rupees 25,000. Understood, friends? Next, it rents out a community hall situated with the precincts of a temple. Community hall, Kalyan Mandapam. If you do remember, friends, there is a condition. If the consideration is 10,000 or more, then GST is payable. In the given question, the consideration is for the first half day, it was let out for 5,000 and for religious function, and then for the next half day, the hall, the Kalyan Mandapam, was let out for art exhibition for 6,000. So total consideration is 11,000 for a day. And if the entire consideration per day, whether it is for to the same person or whether it is for to the different persons, per day, if the amount is 10,000 or more, then GST shall be payable. And last, outward supply, it rents out the rooms in the precincts, and if you do remember, for the rooms the consideration is 1,000 or more, then only GST is payable. Now devotee for a rent of 950 per room per day, so GST is exempted. Not if it is 1,000 or more, then only GST is taxable. Now all the figures given above are exclusive of taxes wherever applicable. Aggregate turnover, we have read this, that in the preceding year does not exceed the statutory limit, threshold limit. All the conditions are for availment of ITC are fulfilled. Manavta Trust intends to avail the exemption from GST wherever applicable. Now, based on these questions, you have to answer the following questions based on the above case study. Choose the most appropriate to the following questions. First, which of the following activity of the Manavta Trust does not amount to supply under the GST law? Does not amount to supply. Now, first, free laptop distributed to the needy student. If you do remember, friends, free laptop was given in the second paragraph. Free laptops were distributed to the needy student. Now, Manavta Limited, they themselves have received it for free of cost. So, they have not given a single rupee. They have received for free of cost. So, they surely not have availed the ITC on it. And if ITC is not availed, then the activity is not a supply. Correct? So, first activity is not a supply. Correct? Correct. Now, if you do remember schedule 1, para 1, then if ITC is availed, then the activity is a supply. Now, in this case, free laptops are distributed. They themselves have received it for free of cost. So, no ITC is availed, hence it is not a supply. Next, boarding and lodging and maintenance of the senior citizen by the old age home run by the trust. Boarding, lodging. See, it is a supply, but it is exempted. It is supply. The question says which does not amount to supply. So, it is a supply, but it is exempted from GST. Then third question, renting out of the community hall situated within the precincts of temple managed by the trust. Again, renting of the community hall. It is supply and GST is payable. So, it is a supply and GST is payable. And third, renting of the rooms by the temple managed by the trust in the precincts of the temple. Again, it is a supply and GST is exempt. So, which is a right answer? First, A, free laptops distributed to the needy student. It does not amount the supply itself. Understood, friends? Now, second, compute the value of inward supply on which tax is payable by Manavta Trust under Rivashad in the month of July. In the month of July, RCM. You have to find out the RCM. So, July, the last two paragraphs relates to the month of August and August. This was a month of July. And security personnel services, it is exempted, if you do remember. And lawyer services, it is exempted. So, there is not even a single service on which RCM is applicable, friends. So, answer will be nil. Correct, friends? Then, compute the value of exempt supply in the month of August. Exempt supply in the month of August. August was the last paragraph. Exempt supply. This 3 lakh rupees, it is exempted, and 3 lakh and second is taxable. Third, 3 lakh and 35,000. So 3 lakh 35,000. C is the right answer. 3 lakh 35,000, friends. Then compute the value of taxable supply. Earlier it was exempt supply, now taxable supply for the month of August. Only one transaction was there. 11,000. Second, first was exempted. Correct, friend, in the month of August. So answer will be 11,000. And last question, friends, determine the amount of ITC that can be credited to the e-credit ledger. So ITC which can be availed in short. In the month of August, assuming the rate to be 18%. In the month of August, ITC to be availed. This was outward supply of August. These are the inward supply. August, this has to be availed in September. So August 3,50,000. Amount of supply of services, inward supply of services 3,50,000, and GST rate to be assumed to be 18%. So 3,50,000 into 18%. So answer will be 63,000. With this, friends, we have completed all question 1 to 10 of RTP. And friends, I hope you all have understood this. And my best wishes with you. All the very best for your exams, friends. Work hard and party harder, friends. All the very best for your exams. Thank you.